Now, recently it was reported that President Trump is looking to have a second go around against the ACA. Trump's Justice Department is now going all in an effort to strip the entire law based on the interpretation or the ruling of one court justice. Now, basically, this all has to do with the elimination of the individual mandate, and they're trying to make a constitutional argument based on, well, if you don't have the mandate, if the mandate is unconstitutional, then the entire law should be scrapped. And that is now the Republican, or at least the Trump administration position. So this would be what? Another attempt to eliminate the ACA, which would, of course, end protections for pre-existing conditions, and subsidies, eliminate the Medicaid expansion. It would put millions of Americans in actual jeopardy. It would get rid of millions of people's health care. So, naturally, there are Republicans in Congress that are like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Now, of course, they have to go anonymously, because if you actually try to defend the ACA as a Republican, you're going to get pilloried, you're going to get destroyed. So, this is one anonymous GOP senator that was speaking with Politico. He said, quote, "I want nothing to do with this," said the senator, who was described by Politico as, quote, "scarred from the GOP's multiple failed efforts to repeal and replace Obamacare." Don't do it again. Don't do it again. We already had this fight. I'm not interested in this fight. Why are we having this fight again? It's because Donald Trump can't help himself. He's like, okay, now I've survived the Mueller report, and so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use what political capital I have. You know what? I'm giving him too much credit. I don't think he understands what political capital is. But anyway, no, now that I don't have Mueller investigation anymore, now I'm going to focus on destroying Obamacare. Because, A, I ran an entire election. The Republican Party has been running on getting rid of the ACA since 2010. Now, what they didn't expect to do is they didn't expect to win in 2016. They didn't expect Donald Trump to beat Hillary Clinton. So they had no plan to repeal the ACA and replace it with something. In fact, the Republican plan was, we liked it just fine before the ACA. Oh, all right, but fine, you guys like pre-existing conditions, and if we get rid of those, stuff that people actually like, then our voters are going to rebel. And then we're going to end up losing more elections. So we got to come up with something. And what they came up with was actually much, much worse than anything, really. Because again, I've explained this before, is the ACA is basically the Republican plan. Okay? That was created by the Heritage Foundation, put into an effect on a state level in Massachusetts by none other than Mitt Romney. So that was their plan. And of course, an actual progressive left-wing plan would be to run on Medicare for all. And somewhere in the middle would be a public option, right? Now, I'm saying in the middle of those plans, in reality, a real centrist plan would be also to run on single payer because it actually works. But anyway, so Republicans now, they have no desire to jump back into this fight, especially since you had John McCain giving the thumb, the late John McCain, I should say, giving the thumb to the repeal and replace plan. After that, they're like, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to go focus on other things. Why is Donald Trump bringing it back to this? Why? And they're trying to figure it out. Now, the Daily Beast also reported that the GOP lawmakers and operatives, they're not happy that Trump, again, wants to take a crack at bringing down Obamacare, despite the multiple failed attempts by the GOP over the last 2 years. Senator Roy Blunt told the Daily Beast that Trump didn't represent Republicans with any kind of alternative healthcare plan, because he has one, and he said that it would be unwise to assume that courts would simply overturn the entire law. Quote, "I don't think you can really rethink healthcare until you know for sure whether Obamacare continues to be part of it or not. And I think we're ahead of ourselves to assume that the court would say that Obamacare is somehow no longer there. Do you think Donald Trump knows about that? Anything about that? Do you think he cares? No, he says Obamacare bad. Why? Because Obama. I don't like Obama. He's a black guy. And he's actually smarter than me. And he actually got better grades than me. Hey, you want to prove it, Donald Trump? Release your transcripts. Guaranteed, you were not as smart and did not get very good grades as you claim to have gotten. I could guarantee it. I could guarantee it. Release your transcripts. Release your transcripts. No, he can't handle that somebody who's black, smarter than him, more accomplished than him, and actually accomplished, I wouldn't say it's fantastic legislation, but it's better than what we had before. And a good stepping stone to now going forward towards single-payer healthcare, a la Medicare for all. No substitutes, Medicare for all. So he can't stand it, though. That's why he's going after it again, because he has no other plan. Build the wall and get rid of Obamacare. The two things that he's wanted to do the most. And he's going to keep harping on those and doing nothing else. No, and then he did actually get tax cuts for himself and the rich, so that's complete. Now he's just got two more things that he wants to do to try and make it to the election in 2020. That's why he's doing this. And look, if he's successful, I don't think he will be, because look, a lot of legal experts are saying this is not the way to go after the law, but it's basically his last chance. And of course, it's a great way to campaign for the next election. So I guess it serves a dual purpose. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.